Hiya, I'm Paddy and I'm here for another episode of Free Falling Through Canvas Apps. In our last episode, we looked at how to check whether the form will create a new record in the data source or whether it will update an existing one. In this episode, we'll look at those win and lose opportunity commands and how we can make them function on the new opportunity form when the form doesn't have any concept of an opportunity ID yet. To do this, we'll use the patch function to create the opportunity and then grab it and store it within a collection. The stored opportunity will contain the ID automatically generated by the Common Data Service, which will then be able to pass to Power Automate and close the opportunity. Just a note before I start this episode that you can also find exercise files in a solution, including the app before I start this video and when I finish this video on my website. The full details will be in the description on the YouTube video. I've also started to populate all my previous videos with the exercise files. They'll be in the solution format so you can import that into your tester environment. It's taken me a wee while to get through them all, but I'm getting there. One thing that I love about Canvas App is that it's so quick and easy just to add components for testing. So let's just do that by adding a button right in the middle of our edit screen. And make the button only visible when the opportunity is a new one by checking the form mode of our edit form. So let's amend the onSelect property to test our patch function. At its most basic level, you could attempt to create an opportunity using the patch function like this. Specify the data source, then if you use the defaults function with the parameter of again your data source, that will attempt to populate the attributes on the record with their default value. And when I say default value, that's a default value specified at the data source. Now if we run this, we'll get an error. And that's because our opportunity requires the name field. But as well as the defaults function, our patch function also allows us to specify which fields populate with non-default value. Let's tell our patch function to set all fields as default except the name field. Now note that we're using the schema name for the attribute in the Common Data Service. We'll specify that the name should be our topic field. And it's worth noting here as well that you can add fields to your patch function that you don't necessarily have components on the form for. Now you can see that that has completed successfully and created an opportunity. Now that we've demonstrated that that works, we can start adding in some other fields into our patch function. And we just add them on the end in the same way. When we're finished adding each field on our form, our patch statement should look like this. And I just want to point out the different values and the format of the different values that we're passing to our data source. For text attributes, we pass the text property of our field. For currency attributes, we convert the .text property of our field to a value. Options set attributes, we use the field.selected.value property, so the value of the selected option of our field. For integers and decimals, we'll convert the .text property to a value. For dates, we use the selected dates property of the field. And for lookups, we just use the .selected property of the field. So let's run a test and see if that patch works. Yeah, there's our record. Remember what I said earlier, the patch function returns a value, and the value is the record that it just creates. And as well as returning the record with the attributes that we've specified, it actually returns the full record, so including any automatically generated attributes as well, including the record ID. So that opportunity ID, i.e. the good, is accessible in the value returned by the patch. So we want to capture that in some way, and we'll do that by creating a collection. Now the collection will only contain one record, the one returned from the patch. So let's take our patch function and just copy it into Notepad. And we'll use the clear collect function. Give our collection a name. Call it new opportunity. And so we're essentially calling our patch from within the clear collect function. So let's press our test button. And we have a look at our collections. We have a record in there. That's our new opportunity that's just been created. Next, we'll put a label on the form. And as I said, this is just really for testing. We want to get the ID of that opportunity. So we'll set the text value of that label. First, the name of the collection. So the first function will get the first record in a data source, which in this case is a collection. Let's check if that good is the same as the one in our common data service that we've just created. Now all we have to do is incorporate the logic that we've got in our test button into our close opportunity as won and lost tools. I always just copy these into Notepad and start from scratch as opposed to trying to work around them, because it just makes it a lot easier to understand what exactly is happening. So the first thing we need to do is check whether we are indeed creating a new opportunity, and if you remember we did that by checking the form mode. The form mode is new. We'll create a new opportunity using the patch function and add it to a collection. Set the closed op variable to the first opportunity, which is the only opportunity in our new opportunity collection. The select function of our cancel icon, which will reset the form and go back to the previous screen. If our condition returns false and the form mode isn't new, we'll do exactly as we did before. We can just copy and paste that. We'll set the value of the closed up variable to the opportunity selected in the gallery, and then we'll submit the form. And now that we've finished our conditional statement, we finish off with the logic that runs the action to win the opportunity. So let's just recap what we did there. We checked if the form mode was new. If it was new, we created a collection called new opportunity. The contents of that collection are the result of the patch, which will be a new opportunity record. We then set the variable closed op to the first record in that collection, which is the only record in that collection. Submit and reset the form. Go back to the previous screen, which is the same as the cancel icon does. If the form type is not new, we do exactly as we did before. We set closed op to the selected item in the gallery, submit the form, and once we're out of our conditional statement or if statement, we continue to do all the other actions that run the action and refresh the dataset. Just formatted that to make it easier to see. In theory, that should work, but when I was testing this, I encountered some unexpected behaviour, and after some troubleshooting, I narrowed it down to this parameter here, the actual revenue value. What was happening was that when I was closing an opportunity from the new form, the actual revenue that was getting passed was null. And I still can't really explain that. I think it's to do with possibly asynchronous actions, or the patch not running quick enough, or the form being reset before the patch finishes running. But I did find quite a simple workaround, and that workaround was just to declare a context variable to hold the actual revenue value in, and populate that with the value from a field on the form as soon as the close opportunity button's been pressed. Let's just test that now. Close an existing opportunity, and we'll create a new one. Straight away. Let's have a look in our Dynamics 365 for Sales app. You can see that they're both closed. So in that episode we learned about the patch function, how we can call it from inside the clear collect function to get the attributes that are automatically generated by our data source. That's only one use of the patch function, and I'm sure we'll look into more, but please check out the Microsoft documentation to see how else it can make your app building easy. Now that's us really got our minimum viable product when it comes to the Easy Opportunities Manager app. It was a good exercise to start with something familiar, to me anyway, the Dynamics 365 for Sales, and learn the basics of building a Canvas app. I've got a few wee tweaks to do that I'll cover in upcoming videos, but now I'm going to start thinking about what I can do to fully leverage the Canvas app form factor. So I'll be adding a front screen to the app with some navigation and then some cool tools, and functionality that will give our salespeople the edge when accessing their data on a mobile device. Until next episode, blue skies.